जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। कृष्णा हरे राम हरे राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधे। जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा, जय सुभद्रा मैया जय सुदर्शन। जय गौरनीताय जय गौरनीताय। जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद। निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल। हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। So today we are reading from verse 1.8.47, Canto 1, Chapter 8, verse number 47. So please repeat after me. आह राजा धर्मसुताश
राजा धर्मसुताश्च
चिन्तयन् सुहृदां वधम्
चिन्तयन् सुहृदाम्
प्राकृतेनात्मना विप्रः
प्रकृतेनात्मनः विप्रः
स्नेहमोहवशं गतः।
स्नेहो वशङ्गतः।
आह राजा धर्मसुतः चिन्तयन् सुहृदां वधम्
चिन्तयन् सुहृदाम्
प्राकृतेनात्मना विप्रः
विप्रः
स्नेहमोहवशं गतः।
स्नेहः।
आह राजा धर्मसुतः
आह राजा धर्मसुतः
चिन्तयन् सुहृदां वधम्
चिन्तयन् सुहृदाम्
प्राकृतेनात्मना विप्रः
विप्रः
स्नेहमोहवशं गतः।
शङ्गतः।
आह राजा धर्मसुतः
चिन्तयन् सुहृदां वधाम्
चिन्तयन् सुहृदां वधम्
प्राकृतेनात्मना विप्राः
प्राकृतेनात्मना विप्रः
स्नेहमोहवशं गतः
स्नेहमोहवशं गतः।
आह राजा धर्मसुतः
आह राजा धर्मसुतः
चिन्तयन् सुहृदां वधम्
चिन्तयन् सुहृदां वधम्
प्राकृतेनात्मना विप्राः
प्राकृतेनात्मना विप्रः
स्नेहमोहवशं गतः।
स्नेहमोहवशं गतः।
आह राजा धर्मसुताः
आह राजा धर्मसुतः
चिन्तयन् सुहृदां वधम्
चिन्तयन् सुहृदां वधम्
प्राकृतेनात्मना विप्रा
प्राकृतेनात्मना विप्रः
स्नेहमोहावशं गतः।
स्नेहमोहवशं गतः। Hare Krishna. Anybody online would like to recite?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandat Pranam. Can I recite?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam Prabhu. आह राजा धर्मसुताः
आह राजा धर्मसुतः
चिन्तयन् सुहृदां वदम्
चिन्तयन् सुहृदां वधम्
प्राकृतेनात्मना विप्रा
प्राकृतेनात्मना विप्रः
स्नेहमोहवशं गतः.
स्नेहमोहवशं गतः।
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Synonyms. Ah said, Raja, King Yudhishthir, Dharma, Dharmasuta, the son of Dharma, Yamraj.
the son of Dharma, Yavraj,
Chintayan,
Chintayan,
thinking of,
thinking of
Suhridam,
Shuhidam,
of the friends,
of the friends,
Vadham,
Vadam,
killing,
Kiri,
Prakritena,
Prakritina,
by material conception only,
by material conception of
Atmana,
Atman,
by the self,
the self,
Vipraha, O Brahmana,
O Brahman,
Sneha,
Sneha,
affection,
affection,
Moha,
Moha,
delusion,
delusion,
Vasham,
Vasam,
being carried away by,
being carried away,
Gataha,
Gata,
having gone.
being
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada की जय. King Yudhishthir, son of Dharma, overwhelmed by the death of his friends, was aggrieved just like a common materialistic man. O sages, thus deluded by affection, he began to speak. King Yudhishthir, though he was not expected to become aggrieved like a common man, became deluded by worldly affection by the will of the Lord, just as Arjuna was apparently deluded. A man who sees knows well that the living entity is neither the body nor the mind, but is transcendental to the material conception of life. The common man thinks of violence and non-violence in terms of the body, but that is a kind of delusion. Everyone is duty bound according to one's occupational duties. A Kshatriya is bound to fight for the right cause regardless of the opposite party. In such discharge of duty, one should not be disturbed by annihilation of the material body, which is only an external dress of the living soul. All this was perfectly known to Maharaj Yudhishthir, but by the will of the Lord, he became just like a common man because there was another great idea behind this delusion. The king would be instructed by Bhishma as Arjun was instructed by the Lord himself. ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातां सगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामीनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्नि गौरद्विषे नमः नमो ब्राह्मण देवाय गो ब्राह्मण हिताय च जगदिताय कृष्णाय गोविंदाय नमो नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय. सो आप सभी का एक बार फिर से भागवतम के इस सत्र में स्वागत है. कुछ भी कहने से पहले मैं आप सबसे आज्ञा चाहूँगा कि मैं इस विषय में कुछ बोल पाऊँ और परंपरागत तरीके से जो शिला प्रभुपाद जी ने इस श्लोक पे टिप्पणी की है और उन्होंने जो ज्ञान हमें देने का प्रयास किया है मैं उसी को दोहरा सकूं, क्योंकि मुझ में खुद में कोई क्षमता नहीं है जैसा हमारे आचार्यों ने और प्रभुपाद जी ने हमें बताया है. तो उसके अनुरूप ही मैं कुछ कह पाऊँ, इसके लिए आप सभी से आज्ञा चाहता हूँ, और अगर कोई त्रुटि हो तो कृपया क्षमा कर दिए। और मैं मदन सुंदर प्रभु जी का और आप सभी वैष्णवों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूँ, मुझे इस प्रकार से यहाँ पर इस पर कुछ कहने का मौका देने के लिए। थैंक यू। हरे कृष्ण। सो अभी यहाँ पर हम देख रहे हैं कि 8th चैप्टर में बेसिकली यहाँ पर कुंती महारानी ने काफ़ी प्रेयर्स किए भगवान को, भगवान से अपनी याचना की, प्रार्थना की कि हम किस प्रकार आपको हमेशा याद रख सकें, ताकि हमारे जीवन में इस प्रकार आप कष्टों को भेजिए और जिस प्रकार से आपकी जो रिमेम्बरेंस है वो हमारे हृदय में हमेशा बनी रहे। क्योंकि भगवान से दूर होके भगवान का चिंतन खोकर कोई भी व्यक्ति, कोई भी जीवात्मा सुखी नहीं रह सकती। तो इस प्रकार से कुंती महारानी जी बहुत सुंदर प्रार्थनाएं करती हैं। तो उनके उसके बाद जब कुंती महारानी जी अपनी प्रार्थनाएं फिनिश करती हैं, उसके बाद युधिष्ठिर महाराज काफी व्याकुल हो जाते हैं। वो ये सोचकर कि हरे कृष्ण, कि भगवान कृष्ण अब अपने धाम द्वारका को जाने वाले हैं। तो यह सोचकर युधिष्ठिर काफी व्याकुल हो जाते हैं। दूसरा मेन रीजन उनके व्याकुलता का ये भी था कि वो अपने आप को कहीं ना कहीं गिल्टी मानते हैं। इनफैक्ट ही कंसीडर हिमसेल्फ एज द सोल रीजन ऑफ व्हाट हैपेंड इन द वॉर ऑफ कुरुक्षेत्र, कि उनकी वजह से, उनके राज्य के लोभ के कारण वो ऐसा सोचते हैं कि उन्होंने 64 करोड़ व्यक्तियों का, सोल्जर्स का जो है वध करवा दिया। तो ऐसा वो सोचते हैं। तो ऐसा वो क्यों सोचते हैं ये भी हम डिस्कस करेंगे। कल भी हमने डिस्कस किया था, सनातन प्रभु ने हमें बताया था। तो वाई युधिष्ठिर महाराज बिहेव्ड इन दैट वे, राइट। सो बेसिकली यहाँ पर खास बात इसमें ये है कि यहाँ इस वर्ष में युधिष्ठिर महाराज को क्या बुलाया है? धर्मसुत। धर्मसुता मतलब सन ऑफ द धर्मा। धर्मा कौन है? यमराज। तो somebody just like आई आई थिंक हमने काफी फर्स्ट कैंटो में भी कवर किया है। आगे जो फर्स्ट कैंटो में जब परीक्षित महाराज का कहानी आता है तो बताते हैं कि परीक्षित महाराज वाज आल्सो अ राजऋषि। Rajrishi is somebody who follows and who act based on dharmic teachings mentioned in the scriptures or as told by the Lord, right? लेकिन कलयुग के प्रभाव में आकर महाराज परीक्षित जो है वो शमीक ऋषि के गले में सांप डाल देते हैं, मरा हुआ सांप डाल देते हैं। तो भगवान टाइम टू टाइम जो है अपने भक्तों की परीक्षा लेते हैं, उनको इल्यूजन में डालते हैं, भ्रम में डालते हैं, ताकि उनके द्वारा, उनके थ्रू हमें शिक्षा दे सकें। तो इसी प्रकार यहाँ पर भी महाराज युधिष्ठिर धर्म के, ही इज द डायरेक्ट सन ऑफ यमराज, ही इज द धर्मा, एंड ही नोज एवरीथिंग इन एंड आउट। उनको कुछ बताने की आवश्यकता नहीं है। और ऐसा भी नहीं है कि he is not he knows the scriptures superficially। भाई ऊपर ऊपर से पता है कि ज्ञान पढ़ तो लिया, लेकिन एक्चुअली में प्रैक्टिकल इम्प्लीमेंटेशन कैसे होता है उसका, दैट इज नॉट नोन। ऐसा भी नहीं है। युधिष्ठिर महाराज तो सेल्फ रियलाइज्ड सोल है ना। तो उनको सब मालूम है। ऑलरेडी अर्जुन को भगवत गीता का ज्ञान भगवान दे चुके हैं। तो ऐसा नहीं है कि वो ज्ञान जो है भगवत गीता का अर्जुन को जो मिला है वो युधिष्ठिर के पास नहीं है, वो भी उनको सब मालूम है। लेकिन यहाँ पर युधिष्ठिर जो है, प्रभुपाद जी परपट में क्लियरली लिख रहे हैं कि बाय द विल ऑफ द लॉर्ड, भगवान कृष्ण के मर्जी से वो ऐसा कर रहे हैं, ऐसा बिहेव कर रहे हैं। तो श्लोक में क्या है? श्लोक में है कि युधिष्ठिर जो कि धर्म के पुत्र हैं, अपने बंधु बांधवों, अपने रिश्तेदारों को स्लॉटर, उनको जो मार मार दिया गया, जो मर गए, उनके बारे में सोच रहे हैं, और एक मटेरियलिस्टिक पर्सन की तरह सोच रहे हैं, एक कंडीशनड सोल की तरह सोच रहे हैं और बोल रहे हैं। अब आगे आने वाले 4-5 श्लोकों में वो बताएंगे कि वो क्या फील कर रहे हैं। एंड ही इज बीइंग ओवरवेल्म्ड, ओवरवेल्म्ड बाय स्नेह एंड मोह, स्नेह मोह वशम गतम। तो वो स्नेह और मोह के वश में, स्नेह क्या होता है? अफेक्शन। और मोह क्या होता है? वही अफेक्शन जब गलत तरीके से इम्प्लीमेंट किया जाए, अटैचमेंट जिसको बोलते हैं। अफेक्शन एंड अटैचमेंट में प्रभु मदन सुंदर प्रभु जी कई बार बताते हैं, डिफरेंस इज दैट इन मोह यू गेट इल्यूजन्ड। आप अपने सेल्फ के लिए you get attached for your selfish interest, whereas affection is more like you care for others and you do things for others. So यहाँ पर जो स्नेह है महाराज युधिष्ठिर का, that is more for compassion, कि मुझ उनको चिंता है कि जो मर गए उनको कितना दुख हुआ होगा, और जो पीछे रह गए उनके रिश्तेदार, ऑलमोस्ट ऑल द मेन इन द वर्ल्ड वर किल्ड इन दिस वॉर। तो पीछे केवल बच्चे और माताएं रह गए थे, तो उनके लिए उनके मन में बहुत करुणा है, कंपैशन है। सो दैट इज हाउ महाराज युधिष्ठिर इज थिंकिंग। सो ही इज नॉट ओनली लुकिंग एट, जो एक कंपैशनेट राजा होता है, जो एक राजऋषि होता है, हाउ डज ही लुक एट द सिचुएशन। यहाँ पर बहुत अच्छे से बता रहे हैं कि एक जो राजा होता है, सही राजा होता है, वो केवल अपनी विक्ट्री को नहीं देखता, अपनी विजय को नहीं देखता। ही ऑल्सो लुक्स एट व्हाट इज हिज रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, उनकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी क्या है, उस उनके एक्शंस के कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस क्या हैं। ऐसा नहीं कि कोई भी कार्य कर दिया और उसके बाद देख लेंगे, मैं तो राजा हूं, मुझे कौन कुछ कह सकता है, राइट। ही विल इवेलुएट ऑल द कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस फ्रॉम ऑल द एंगल्स। एंड कल सनातन प्रभु ने बताया था लेक्चर में कि कैसे पहले के टाइम पे हमारे आचार्य लोग, हमारे सीनियर्स होते थे, जिनसे हम जाके सलाह मशवरा करते थे, जो हमें गाइड किया करते थे, राइट। नाउ हर चीज के लिए कोर्ट चले जाते हैं, पहले कोर्ट्स वगैरह नहीं होते थे। पहले वी यूज टू टेक एडवाइस फ्रॉम द सीनियर, लाइक सनातन गोस्वामी जी का एग्जांपल दिया था कल प्रभु जी ने। तो he will evaluate all the consequences by taking advice from all the seniors and all the experts, and then he will make a decision. और फिर उनके कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस, उन कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस को सोचने के टाइम पे ही विल ऑल्सो थिंक अबाउट व्हाट विल बी द मोरल बर्डन ऑफ व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू डू। इसका सामाजिक उस पे सामाजिक जो फैब्रिक है उसके ऊपर क्या असर होने वाला है ना। कोई भी एक छोटा सा एक्शन जो है, वो बहुत एक राजा का लेवल पे, एक लीडर के लेवल पे, या हम कह सकें कि आज के वर्ल्ड में एक पॉलिटिशियन जो होते हैं, नेता लोग, उनके लेवल पे एक छोटा सा डिसीजन कैन हैव वेरी डेंजरस इफेक्ट्स ऑन द प्रजा। सो दे हैव टू थिंक वेरी क्लियरली व्हाट एक्चुअली दे आर ट्राइंग टू डू। इसीलिए ऑल्दो जब नेता लोग या पार्लियामेंट में कोई डिसीजंस होते हैं तो उसके ऊपर इतना डिबेट होता है। अगर वो डिबेट नहीं होगा तो वो एक तरह से जो रूलिंग गवर्नमेंट है उसका एक तरह से वो एक अपने पक्ष के द्वारा एक निर्णय हो जाएगा कि हमने जो यूनिलैटरल डिसीजन जिसको कहते हैं, है ना। तो इसीलिए ओपोजिशन को भी कॉन्फिडेंस में लिया जाता है, ताकि बाद में जाके उसके दुष्प्रभाव ना पड़े। क्योंकि वी दे शुड नो, ओके, इट्स नॉट लाइक अगर जब इलेक्शंस होते हैं, जब कोई गवर्नमेंट को चूज किया जाता है, अगर आप देखें कभी नंबर्स, अगर आपने इलेक्शन के नंबर्स देखे हों, तो जो रूलिंग गवर्नमेंट होती है उसको राउंड अबाउट 40-42% वोट्स मिलते हैं, राइट। इट्स नॉट लाइक कि दे आर गेटिंग 100% वोट्स, देर आर स्टिल 60% ऑफ द पीपल who did not side with the government. But just because the opposition only got 20% or 30%, this government has been formed by the 40% vote जिनको मिले। बट when they are making decisions in the parliament, वो bill pass कर रहे हैं, तो they have to take into account those 60% also who did not vote for them, right? So उनकी opinion लेने के लिए they have to take into confidence the opposition also. तो एक राजा का जो भी decision होता है, that is very very important from social perspective, from a perspective of the welfare of the praja. So like that Yudhishthir Maharaj was also thinking. एंड प्रभुपाद जी अपने लेक्चर्स में और अपने स्क्रिप्चर्स में बहुत बार लिखते हैं कि जो डिवोटी है, एक भक्त है, प्योर डिवोटी है, ही इज वेरी सॉफ्ट एट हार्ट। ही उनके हृदय में केवल वो अपने बारे में नहीं सोचते, वो सबके बारे में सोचते हैं। इज वेरी कंपैशनेट। सो सो दैट मीन्स दैट सॉफ्टनेस इज नॉट द वीकनेस। उनकी कोई वो कमजोरी नहीं है। इट्स जस्ट दैट in fact that is more of a qualification of a devotee. A devotee is very soft at heart because he is always thinking about the welfare of the others. So that is how even Yudhishthir Maharaj was thinking. And जो उनके मन में दुख था, ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई बोलेगा कि हम तो प्योर डिवोटी हैं, हमें तो बहुत नॉलेज है, वी आर नॉट दिस बॉडी, वी आर सोल, तो हमें दुख नहीं होना चाहिए, है ना। कोई दुख का क्या मतलब है, ये तो आत्मा है, दूसरा शरीर धारण कर लेंगी हम। कोई जनरली देखा जाता है कि जब कोई किसी का स्वजन मृत्यु को प्राप्त होता है, तो जो दूसरे लोग आते हैं वो आते हैं, उनको सांत्वना देते हैं कि ऐसा होगा ऐसा होगा, लेकिन जब स्वयं उनके साथ ऐसा होता है तो वो कितना फूट फूट के रोते हैं। तो ऐसा नहीं, तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि दुख मनाना इज अ साइन ऑफ वीकनेस। इट इज नॉट लाइक दैट, राइट? बट इट इज, दुख मनाओ बट नॉट गेट अटैच्ड। सो दैट इज व्हाट Prabhupada keeps saying. And Krishna also likes this human. What can we learn from this is that Krishna also like this human like reaction. कि जब अर्जुन एकदम निसहाय फील करते हैं कुरुक्षेत्र के बैटल में, और फिर वो भगवान से प्रार्थना करते हैं, कार्पण्य दोषो उपहत स्वभाव पृच्छामि त्वाम धर्म सम्मूढ़ चेता। तो लाइक दैट Krishna, through his devotee, then he guides the rest of the world, right? So Krishna, जैसे कि प्रभुपाद जी ने यहाँ पे लिखा, by the will of the Lord, by the will of Krishna, he makes the devotee, the pure devotee, an instrument. Nimit matra bhave sabyasachi, right? So he makes them an instrument to teach us. So this is why, by the will of the Lord, the Yudhishthir Maharaj was behaving in that way, and the feelings of Yudhishthir Maharaj, being of compassion and grief, they were full of compassion for the living entities, for the for his praja and for everybody in the world. So Prabhupada is explaining how this sneh and moh. Prabhupada actually has given 2 lectures on this verse. So I was just trying to take some parts from his lecture. Actually, entire thing I have taken from his lecture only. So he's talking about sneh and moh, right? So sneh is what basically he's trying to say is that sneh is natural, right? So it's not something that is artificial. You will feel affection for your near and dear ones, your whoever you work with, whoever you deal with on a regular basis, right? तो फिर वो प्रभुपाद जी यहाँ पे एग्जाम्पल दे रहे हैं एक फिशरमैन का। तो एक बार स्टोरी बता रहे हैं कि वो एक बार चैतन्य महाप्रभु ने किसी फिशरमैन को ऐसे टच कर दिया था। तो बिकॉज महाप्रभु टच्ड हिम एंड महाप्रभु इज द लॉर्ड, ही वेंट इनटू एक्सटेसी। उनमें वो 8 गुण दिखाई देने लगे, वो रोना और वो जो भी रहता है, एंड ही गॉट लिटरली people were thinking that he has gone mad. तो अल्टीमेटली वो भी यही सोचने लगा कि मैं भी पागल हो गया हूँ, कुछ तो गड़बड़ हो गई है मेरे अंदर, मुझे क्या हो गया है. एंड ही वाज थिंकिंग अगर मैं पागल हो गया तो मेरी फैमिली की देखभाल कौन करेगा. सो दैट इज हाउ ही वाज फीलिंग. ही वाज फीलिंग अफेक्शनेट फॉर हिज फैमिली. But even during that ecstasy, even during that spiritual experience, he was feeling that material affection for his family. So that is what Prabhupada is saying. Another example Prabhupada gives is about a monkey who was sitting in his window, and that monkey had a small child, child monkey, and that child monkey sneaked into that gap through the window inside his room. तो जब वो अंदर आ गया तो वो जो बाहर उसकी मदर थी या उसका फादर जो भी था, यूजुअली मदर ही होगी, तो शी जस्ट लाइक वेंट इनटू हिस्टेरिया. कहाँ 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 पूरा शोर मचा दिया कि अभी मेरा बच्चा किधर चला गया काइंड ऑफ. तो प्रभुपाद जी जस्ट पुश्ड हिम आउटसाइड अगेन एंड देन शी वाज रिलैक्स्ड. So that is how Prabhupada is trying to say that this sneha, this affection is very, very natural to all of us. It is not something that is artificial. But what happens is this affection expands. It is for our own body, then it expands to our family, our wife, our children, our parents, our friends, then it expands to the community that we are serving, right? And then it expands to nations, right? Like that, it keeps on expanding. So uh, we start identifying ourselves with all of these entities, and ultimately we keep identifying ourselves with our own body. सो यहाँ पे प्रभुपाद जी एक श्लोक का रेफरेंस देते हैं फ्रॉम 10th कैंटो 84th चैप्टर 13th वर्स. यस्यात्मा बुद्धि कुनपे त्रिधातुके स्वधि कलात्रिदिषु भौम इज्यधि यत् तीर्थ बुद्धि सलीले न करहिचिज जनेष्व अभिज्ञेषु स एव गोखरः. So Prabhupada is saying कि whosoever identifies himself with this inert body, which is nothing but composed of what? Mucus, bile, air, right? And who thinks this earth as its as his birthplace, like, and this is worshipable. अपने देश को हम बोलते हैं ना राष्ट्र भूमि, जन्मभूमि, मातृभूमि, like that we say. And who sees the place of pilgrimage, जो तीर्थ स्थान को nothing but they consider them as water. ठीक है, जाके आ गए, लोग आते हैं, वो प्रभुपाद जी एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हैं कि they travel for miles and miles, thousands of miles, just to visit a place like Haridwar or Vrindavan or something, and then they just see the things very externally, right? They will criticize that dham, they will say this is so bad, this infrastructure is so bad, this is so like that, darshan nahi ho rahe hain, so much crowd is there, and all those things people creep about it, and then they just go back, right? They don't associate with the sages, they don't associate with saintly persons, they don't understand the importance of that place, they don't understand the um, spiritual benefit of that place, and they just consider that as a uh, tourist place, more or like. So those people are no better than animal, go kharaha, ass and cow. So that is how Prabhupada is describing in his lecture. Then then Prabhupada is also explaining another thing in the verse. So without spiritual knowledge, this affection, it becomes moho, attachment. Attachment is always illusion, delusional, जैसे प्रभुपाद जी यहाँ पे मीनिंग दे रहे हैं. So this is about bodily conception. सो बॉडीली कंसेप्शन कैसे प्रभुपाद जी एक्सप्लेन करें. प्राकृतेन आत्मना, जो इसमें वर्ड आता है श्लोक में, प्राकृतेन आत्मना, ही इज सेइंग दैट आत्मा जो शब्द है, इट कैन बी it can be used in many ways. It can be used for this body, it can be used for the mind, and it can be used for the soul. और यहाँ पर स्पेसिफिकली बॉडी के लिए यूज हो रहा है, ये बताने के लिए उसके साथ प्राकृत वर्ड लगाया गया है. Prakriten Atman. Prakrit means, Prabhupada is saying Prakriti means nature, natural, right? So this is from the nature. It is not aprakrit. Aprakrit is what? Soul. Soul is aprakrit from the spiritual world, whereas this body is from the five elements, made of five elements from this nature. So that is how Prabhupada is saying that Yudhishthir Maharaj is being prakriten atmana. So he is in the conception of body and he is thinking like that. So then Prabhupada ji gives more examples. He's saying that when we consider ourselves as body, and we, even if we have good intentions, these good intentions are can lead to sins, right? How he it can do that? He is giving an example. हम बहुत छोटे थे, हम ये स्टोरी सुन चुके हैं, प्रभुपाद जी उसका एग्जाम्पल देते हैं कि एक आंट थी जो अपने नेफ्यू को पाल पोस के बड़ा करती है, राइट? And that nephew, he goes wherever he goes, he brings back something and he would steal, चोरी करके कुछ लेके आते हैं, and that aunt never chastise him, उनको कभी मना नहीं करती उसको, और उसको कभी भी डांटती नहीं है, मारती नहीं है कि तुम ये किसका लेके आए हो, क्यों चुराया है, ऐसा करके. So he grows up to be a murderer ultimately. So, and he murders somebody and then he was supposed to be hanged. तो जब उसको लटकाया जा रहा था तो उनको पूछा कि आपकी कोई अंतिम इच्छा है तो आप बताइए करके. तो ही सेड कि आई वुड लाइक टू स्पीक टू माय आंट एंड आई वुड लाइक टू से समथिंग इन हर ईयर, राइट? तो वो जब आंट उसके पास आती है एंड शी वाज लाइक मेकिंग अ सीन, शी वाज लाइक so grief stricken कि मेरा nephew को मार रहे, because he was the only one she had actually. So now he will be hanged and all of that. And then this nephew goes and he bites her ear, and then blood comes out, and then everybody asks, why did you do that? तो वो बोलता है कि she never stopped me from doing all of this, and now she is making this drama that I am being hanged and all of that, right? So that is how in your bodily conception you think you are so selfish. So that aunt was very selfish because he was bringing so many things, and she was materially, and they were giving her सुख, उसको सुख प्रोवाइड कर रही थी वो चीजें जो भी है. तो एंड ही शी वाज हैप्पी, बट शी नेवर थॉट ऑफ द consequences. So like we discussed कि Yudhishthir Maharaj being a leader, he always think of consequences. She being a leader of the house, she should have thought about the consequences. So like that Prabhupada is saying. And then Prabhupada gives another example where there is a younger brother who gives paratha to his elder brother, and his elder brother is actually suffering from typhoid, and in typhoid you cannot give solid food for extended period of time, and he was on a restricted diet. But then the elder brother told the younger brother कि मुझे बहुत भूख लगा है, मुझे बहुत कुछ खाने का मन हो रहा है, तुम कुछ मेरे पराठा लेके आ जाओ, पराठा बना है घर में. तो वो यंगर ब्रदर उसको जाके दे देता है. फिर दैट मदर इज बीटिंग दैट यंगर ब्रदर कि तुमने उसको ऐसा क्यों दिया करके. तो what Prabhupada is trying to say is that ultimately the affection without knowledge, he did not have the knowledge because कि उसको टाइफॉइड हुआ है और उसको पराठा देना उसकी सेहत के लिए खराब है. So affection without knowledge will actually lead to suffering. So that's what Prabhupada is trying to say. And then Prabhupada is also giving example of the charity, that if somebody is doing charity, that also we should be doing the charity in the mode of goodness, not in the mode of rajas and tamas, because in the mode of goodness we will always think who is the right recipient of that charity and what is a good time to give the charity. But in the mode of passion, in the rajas, we are always thinking of our own benefit. मैंने इसको कुछ दिया, then I will get something back. And the mode of ignorance, we will give charity to wrong people who will actually do wrong things with that charity that you have given them, और फिर वो गलत काम करेंगे और उसका फल हमारे को भी मिलेगा, and we will have to go to hell, hellish conditions we will have to face. So यहाँ से चैरिटी के एग्जाम्पल से प्रभुपाद बता रहे हैं कि अगर आप चैरिटी कर रहे हो विदाउट डिस्क्रिमिनेशन, you have to discriminate, you have to know who is the right recipient, who is not. So if you are doing charity without discrimination, that is again moh, right? So you are attached. And then we know the example of Arjuna and Yudhishthir Maharaj in this. So Arjuna also was deluded, he was also illusioned on the battle of Kurukshetra. वहाँ पे बोलते हैं कि मैं फाइट नहीं करूंगा, ये सब तो मेरे स्वजन हैं, मेरे पितामह हैं, मेरे द्रोणाचार्य हैं, मेरे गुरु हैं, एवरीबडी, हाउ कैन आई किल देम? देन प्रभुपाद इज सेइंग दैट कृष्णा टेल्स हिम, यू आर बिहेविंग लाइक अ anarya justam, right? Anarya. And then Prabhupada says, who is anarya? Who is not spiritually intelligent, right? He is not thinking spiritually, he is only thinking from a bodily conception. And then in this verse we are seeing that how Yudhishthir Maharaj is saying, feeling responsible for the death of his relatives, where when he is not, right? He was only following what Krishna was telling them. It is natural, but it is materially tinged. So there is a tinge of materialness in that, and it has to be corrected, just like Krishna had corrected Arjuna by speaking Bhagavad Gita. Now in the next chapter, Bhishma Pitama is going to speak to Yudhishthir to correct his illusion about what he's trying to he's feeling. So what lesson can we draw from this again is that affection is not wrong. Again, affection is not wrong. We feeling compassionate, feeling care for everybody is not wrong, but duty is paramount. Prabhupada is saying that the duty is the most important. Duty is higher than our affection for others. So यहाँ पर फिर प्रभुपाद जी इसको और अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हैं. He is saying कि Arjuna also asked this question. What Arjuna said is that I understand, I am not this body, and I also understand that my grandfather Bhishma Pitama is also not this body. But then when something happens to him or something happens to my body, right, then I feel that I am in danger, right? So how to fix this kind of a thought process, right? So भगवान कृष्ण क्या बताते हैं? मात्र स्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखदा आगमोपायिना नित्याश ताम स्थितिक्षव भारत. So that's the first teaching which Krishna gives to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, that you have to do your duty, and then while doing your duty, whatever comes in your path, whether it is pleasure or pain, you have to tolerate. You have to tolerate it. So we cannot say that if somebody is a pujari in a temple, right, and he has to do every morning 4:30 he has to do Mangal Aarti. So in winter he cannot say, no, I won't take bath in cold water, or I won't take because it is very cold, right? He has to, that is his duty. He has to clean himself externally, internally, from all sides, and then he has to do the puja, right? Similarly, a housewife or somebody who is cooking, they cannot say that, okay, it is too hot and I will not go and cook. Prabhupada ji is giving these examples. कि गर्मी है तो मैं खाना नहीं बनाऊंगा या बनाऊंगी, right? So this is my duty, I have to do it. So I have to get beyond that material conception of the body and do my duty. Thus, like we say, the show must go on. It cannot, we cannot stop that. So that is how we have to keep doing our duty, even if there is some difficulty to our body, right? Then Prabhupada ji is talking about what are the different levels of devotees, right? He's mainly talking about the Kanishta Adhikari and Madhyam Adhikari in this lecture. right? So the Kanishta Adhikari is more like a Prakrit Bhakta, right? Prakrit Bhakta, Prakrit is bodily conception. So in bodily conception, how the Kanishta Adhikari is feeling? Can somebody tell who is a Kanishta Adhikari? How does he feel and how what he does?
How does he feel in the body? In the body.
Yeah, I mean, Kanishta Adhikari का बिहेवियर कैसा होता है? हाउ डज ही एक्ट और बिहेव?
Sometimes liberated soul, sometimes conditioned.
So he's like very very affectionate towards the deities. उसको deities को देख के he is very affection, उसको मन में बहुत reverence होगा, भगवान है ये करके. But he is totally indifferent towards the devotees. भगवान के devotees हैं, he will like ये तो ऐसे ही है करके, right? So that is how the Karishta, because he is always thinking on the bodily consumption. भगवान को देख के मुझे अच्छा लग रहा है, बट ये तो अच्छी, इसका तो शक्ल ही अच्छा नहीं है, इसको तो पता नहीं है क्या करता है, माला जप रहा है बट आर्टिफिशियली कुछ कर रहा होगा, दिखा रहा है, ढोंग कर रहा है. लाइक दैट ही विल थिंक अबाउट द अदर्स, राइट? But then Prabhupada says that we should at least be like a Madhyam Adhikari. We should at least try to have the goal to where we can go and preach. So Madhyam Adhikari, how does Madhyam Adhikari do? So Prabhupada is giving. So he is worshipping the Ishvara. He is worshipping the deities, Krishna, and he is Tad Adhishenu, right? जो उनके अधीन है, ईश्वर के अधीन है, कौन है? शेल्टर्ड हैं, जो डिवोटीज हैं, राइट? ही इज सर्विंग दोज डिवोटीज, राइट? देन बाली शेषु, who are ignorant and innocent, and he is very compassionate towards them and he would like to enlighten them. And then ultimately द्वेषी, जो द्वेष करते हैं, जो envious हैं, he will avoid those people, right? So like that, these are the four qualities of a Madhyam Adhikari. So Prabhupada is explaining that is, if you are advancing in Krishna consciousness, he's saying then that means your advancement should be directly proportionate to preaching. The more you are preaching, the more you are going to advance. So preaching, Prabhupada is saying, it's not a ritual कि just आप गए और आपने भागवतम क्लास दे दिया and you are just कि मुझे देना है, मुझे कुछ तो बोलना है and I will go and do that. You why Prabhupada is encouraging preaching is because when you preach, you will study Shastras, you will start realizing things on your own. When something you have to speak, you always are self conscious. अरे यार, मैंने तो अपनी लाइफ में ऐसा कुछ किया नहीं है. आई हैव टू इम्बाइब दिस क्वालिटीज इन माई सेल्फ. मैं कुछ बोल रहा हूँ, अगर मेरे अंदर उतनी शुद्धता नहीं है, तो एटलीस्ट मुझे इस पे काम करना है, राइट? सो प्रीचर इज नॉट like ठीक है, he should think about others compassion, but before others compassion he is more compassionate towards himself. So that is why preaching is so important. तो प्रभुपाद जी यहाँ पे प्रहलाद महाराज का एग्जाम्पल देते हैं. सो ये सेइंग 7.6.1 में प्रहलाद महाराज जब अपने सहपाठियों को टीचिंग्स देते हैं, सो ये सेइंग कुमार आचरित प्रज्ञो धर्मान भागवतान इहा. सो इस सेइंग कि मेरे मित्रों, प्रहलाद महाराज जी बोल रहे हैं कि मेरे मित्रों, वी आर ऑल अनमैरिड. अभी तो हमारी अफेक्शन कुछ ज्यादा नहीं है, ठीक है, थोड़ा बहुत हमें खेल में रुचि है, थोड़ा बहुत हमें माँ बाप से प्रेम है, ऐसा करके. बट अगर हम आगे जा रहे हैं, अगर हम वी आर गेटिंग मैरिड, देन वी विल बी टोटली एंटेंगल्ड. ऐसा प्रहलाद महाराज जी बोल रहे हैं, मैं नहीं बोल रहा हूँ. तो इट्स नॉट लाइक कि गेटिंग मैरिड एंड हैविंग फैमिली इज नॉट गुड, बट we should be spiritually enlightened, we should be intelligent enough to know why we are getting married, what is the purpose of getting married, and what is the purpose of raising children. So that is how Prabhupada is trying to explain from the example of Prahlad Maharaj. I'll try to finish in 5 more minutes. And then Prabhupada is also talking about what is true renunciation. He is talking about Vairagya Vidya. What is true renunciation? He's saying that uh, that verse comes, right? Brahma bhuta prasannatma na sochti na kankshati. So he's saying Brahma bhuta is what Vairagya leads to. Vairagya is not only Brahma bhuta, but it is also Anandmayo bhayasat, prasannatma, right? So if you are only artificially um, shunning away everything material, okay, this is material, this is material, this is material, I don't want this will bind me, and then you become and everything becomes zero. Prabhupada is saying, but you will not stay at that zero. He is saying you will fall down ultimately because you are not attached to Krishna. So both things should happen, being detached from material things plus attachment to Krishna. So both things should happen, because ultimately if we are not attached to Krishna, if we are not having that param drishtva nivartate, the higher taste, we will ultimately fall down, because that maya is very strong. It will always bring us back to the material conception, bodily conception. And then he is giving example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, very exalted example. But then he gives the example like how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left his home, his wife, and every body near and dear one for the higher purpose, for the purpose of preaching and for the purpose of giving the Hari Nam to this entire world, the Sankirtan movement. So then even when Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya um, is glorifying uh, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he actually tore those pages. Some 200 shlokas Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya has written, and he tore those pages because he didn't want to fall into the trap of that material bodily conception of being glorified and all of that. And but still, there were a couple of shlokas Prabhupada mentioned, they were saved, and where uh, Prabhupada has mentioned this verse about that. Vairagya Vidya Nij Bhakti Yoga Shikshartakam Eka Purusha Purana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shariradhari Kripam Buddhiriyastam Aham Prapadye. So basically, Lord Krishna could not give this message of Vairagya Vidya, I mean, not directly, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving example directly by his own example. So that is how his Sarbom Bhattacharya is saying. And then there is another shloka in Bhagavatam. वासुदेव भगवती भक्ति योग प्रयोजित जनत्य आशु वैराग्यम ज्ञानम च यद हेतुकम. So 1.2.7, Vairagya and Gyan, two things must be there. Prabhupada is saying that Gyan means full knowledge. Full knowledge means that I am this spirit soul, and my only purpose is to advance spiritually in this life. Rest all will automatically go away. If we are sticking and if we have this purpose of life in always in our mind, always that I am the spirit soul and this is the purpose of my life, then we will see that it is very easy to let go some things which are especially not in our control and which we cannot control, and we are not the proprietor of that. So and then at the end, Prabhupada is also mentioning how a devotee save others, right? From that preaching thing. And again, he is mentioning, this is, I think, from the other lecture of Prabhupada. He has two lectures. So there also is giving example of Prahlad Maharaj that he did not stop Narsingh Dev from killing his father Hiranyakashipu, right? Because he knew that that is his fate, that is what his karmas will actually are leading him to, so he has to die. But then when he was asked by Lord Narsimdev, what do you want, then he asked for liberation for his father. So Prabhupada is saying that he was discharging the duty of the putra. Putra means putra, and tra is like this misery, and so you have to get away, that he has to extract his father out of that misery. So um, so who is a real guru, who is a real father and mother, who prevent us from meeting the imminent death, who prevent us from imminent death of, not of this body. Body को तो मरना ही है, body तो temporary है. Imminent death happens when we don't know anything spiritually, when we do not have the spiritual knowledge, when we don't have gyan, and we leave this body. Then what is going to happen to us? Nobody knows, right? But if we are spiritually inclined, if we have taken the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, if we are always taking the association of advanced devotees, and we are always keen on hearing the message of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, then our life will be saved. Our soul will be saved, right? So that is how that is the responsibility of a guru, father, mother. That is how Prabhupada is saying. And how can that happen? How can it be saved? He is saying, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvata tyaktva deham punarjanma neti mameti so Arjuna. So by that knowledge, by that spiritual knowledge, when the person knows me, when he knows my activity, how why I take incarnate in this world, and what are my activities, when you have that knowledge, then the person is saved. So I will quickly conclude. So this verse was about sneh and moha, that we try to understand how, if sneh is not um, spiritually, if we are not in spiritual knowledge, that snake can becomes moha, and it becomes dangerous, and then the moha traps us in the repeated suffering of birth and death and this whole cycle. Then we also spoke very briefly about the Aryan culture, how an Aryan behaves um, like a spiritually intelligent person, and he does not have a bodily affection. And then even great devotees sometimes show material affection to teach us, right? The example of Arjun and Yudhishthir in this verse. And what is real renunciation? Real renunciation is being affectionate towards Krishna, right? Increasing our affection to Krishna. And when we increase our affection to Krishna, automatically the material things will slowly, they will gradually, our affection will go away from those material things. So with that, I will stop here. Thank you very much. Yes. Any questions or any feedback?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, you mentioned that devotees are soft at heart, and sometimes they have to perform the duty of a leader. And one time, Prabhuji was mentioning that as a leader, they had to take a hard decision. So, as a soft-hearted devotee, when they become the leader, they have to take the hard decision. So, how it is impacting their consciousness? We can say like here, Yudhishthir Maharaj is lamenting. So, is it like same happening with other leaders as well? So, what thing then? Like we have,
Sorry, I didn't get the last part.
Because-
Little louder.
we can see here that Yudhishthir Maharaj is lamenting
Correct.
because he was a devotee, soft-hearted devotee, and then he needs to take a hard decision. Because of that, now he is lamenting. So that's what I want to say, ask you. So as a devotee, we also maybe get some responsibility as a leader or something, and then in future, like if we take some decision and it went in not what we supposed to, and then there could be some consequences.
Correct.
Then we have to lament it. So how it works, because both of the things are opposite, as we devotees are soft-hearted and they need to take hard decision. So
So what I understand, you are saying that sometimes the leader or the advanced devotee has to take a hard decision, and how that translates into softness, right? जब हम बोल रहे हैं कि devotee is soft at heart, but then he takes a hard decision which feels like it's not good or whatever is the consequences, right? Like that you are saying. So what my understanding is, Prabhuji, that externally those decisions may appear to be hard. मतलब उनका जो उन्होंने decision लिया, that may be hard, right? Like for example, if a child is consistently making mistakes, right? उनको मना किया जा रहा है और वो बार बार जाके गलती कर रहे हैं, तो उसके पेरेंट्स may give a punishment, small punishment, right? They will not give him food, or they will chastise him, maybe slap him, or कमरे में बंद करेंगे उसको, खेलने नहीं जाने देंगे, whatever, right? So whatever punishment is given, so that is for his benefit only. So that it is not, that is also softness, that is also compassion, because we know that ultimately this is going to be beneficial for that. And also being in a community, जैसे मदन सुंदर प्रभु जी बताते हैं कि we should not judge others actions, especially the actions of the leaders, by our own limited knowledge or understanding. हमें नहीं पता कि उसका वाइडर इम्पैक्ट क्या है, उसका पूरा उसका उसके पीछे उसका पूरा मोटिव क्या है, राइट? वी जस्ट थिंक फ्रॉम अ स्मॉल एंगल, फ्रॉम अ स्मॉल पर्सपेक्टिव, कि ऐसा हो गया, this is not good, right? But we have to take that as a whole, and we have to respect the decision of the elders or the seniors, and then we have to think that we have to trust the authority. So like that, that is what I could understand. Very good.
I'll just add to it. The answer is
Varun Prabhu answered correctly. I just add to it. Yanisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagrati samyam, which means, externally our actions may look similar, but as the verse says, what is day for an enlightened being is a night for a conditioned living entity. So difference is Yudhishthira becoming angry at the battlefield, but he was not envious. Duryodhan becoming angry at the battlefield, but he was envy. So the difference is in envy. So because his question was how does it affect the consciousness also. So for example, let's say if you become angry, would it affect consciousness or no? You might get into lamentation, depression, whatnot. But the difference is because there was no envy in case of Yudhishthira Maharaj, if we consider the example, therefore it won't affect like that.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु।
ठीक है।
बहुत अच्छा लेक्चर था प्रभु जी आज का। हमारे डिस्क्रिमिनेशन जो पावर है, स्नेह और मोह, इसका भेद हमें बहुत अच्छे से पता चला आज। मतलब आपने कहा कि स्नेह मतलब हमारे जो फैमिली, मदर फादर जो होते, तो उनके लिए क्या अच्छा है, उनके लिए केयर करना मतलब स्नेह। और मोह मतलब हमें क्या अच्छा लगता है उसके बारे में सोचना। तो मुझे एक और ऐसा क्वेश्चन आया दिमाग में कि बहुत बार ऐसे होता है कि हमारा भी स्नेह हमारे फैमिली की तरफ होता है और फैमिली का भी हमारी तरफ होता है। जैसे कि माता पिता को लगता है कि लड़के ने फॉरेन जाकर पढ़ाई करनी चाहिए, दूर जाना चाहिए ताकि उसका फ्यूचर अच्छा हो। और ठीक उसी समय जो बेटा होता है जो कि अभी डिवोटी लाइफ जी रहा है, तो उसे लगता है कि अभी माता पिता का मतलब बुढ़ापे का एज है, वो कुछ नहीं कर पाएंगे। अगर मैं उनके साथ में, उनके ओल्ड एज में उनके साथ रहूंगा तो फिर उनको अच्छी उनकी केयर कर सकूंगा। तो फिर यह दोनों भी भाव स्नेह जैसे लगते हैं। तो फिर इसमें से कौन सा स्नेह विन होगा?
यस प्रभु जी, मुझे नहीं पता मैं क्या उत्तर दे पाऊंगा, बट आपने जो एग्जांपल दिया, मेरे मेरे लिए वो एग्जांपल उल्टा था प्रभु जी। मैं फॉरेन जाना चाहता था, पर मेरे माता पिता मुझे यहीं पे रखना चाहते थे। दे बिकॉज that is how I feel that parents are. They are so much attached to their children. They don't want to see them go away. I mean, foreign जाना तो दूर की बात है. They don't want to see them go away to the next city to go to work, right? तो वो उनका अफेक्शन है. वट एवर पेरेंट्स, अगर वो अपने बच्चे को यहाँ पर रखना चाहते हैं, अपने पास रखना चाहते हैं, दैट इज हाउ देयर अफेक्शन इज. बट अल्टीमेटली this is something that is between the child and the parents, right? But parents will understand when अगर आप उनको बताओगे कि ये है, और मे बी there is always a middle path, right? Okay, I will go for few years, I will go and get some, I will earn some money, and then I will come back and then I will serve my parents, right? So there is always that. अगर आपके कोई किसी का पेरेंट्स उनको बोल रहे कि आप जाओ फॉरेन में जाओ और ऐसे करो, तो देन देर इज ऑलवेज दैट मिडल पाथ विच कैन बी अडोप्टेड. एंड डेफिनेटली अगर पेरेंट्स आपको भेज रहे हैं कहीं पे, कोई बोल रहा है, तो आफ्टर सम टाइम दे विल देमसेल्व्स कॉल यू बैक. ऐसा नहीं है वो अपने आप को बोलेंगे, एटलीस्ट आपको हर महीने में हर 10 बार बोलने वाले हैं कि अभी आप वापिस आ जाओ, अभी आपका हो गया बस. सो लाइक दैट. सो आई थिंक अगर आपको थोड़ा भी नॉलेज है, अगेन अगेन इफ यू आर, इफ दैट चाइल्ड इज अ डिवोटी और द पेरेंट्स आर डिवोटीज, they will try to think intelligently, they will try to think from the all angles, and they will also take advice of the elders and what needs to be done, and then that has to be done.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu.
Eventually affection without knowledge, what you mentioned, right? Even affection without spiritual knowledge is going to bring suffering only. Irrespective of whether that affection is for father or mother for a child, or
Correct.
child having affection for father or mother.
Correct.
So there, without that spiritual touch, it is going to eventually bring suffering.
करेक्ट
So,
करेक्ट. वो प्रभुपाद जी ने एग्जांपल दिए ना आंट और नेफ्यू वाला, क्योंकि उसमें उसको अफेक्शन था नेफ्यू से, और उसको अटैचमेंट था, वो सब चीजें जो वो लेके आ रहा था, राइट? बट अल्टीमेटली वो जो अफेक्शन था, इट वाज क्लाउडेड बाय दोज material things that he was getting, and that ultimately led to the downfall of that boy.
That will happen everywhere, to everyone. To whoever your affection, person is going to die. Suffering. Correct. At all times, all people want to die. So when you say
Manantana Prabhu, you're not audible. Hare Krishna.
so when we say affection with knowledge, so losing one's family members will not be painful, but at least we have that hope the person has moved on, the soul never dies. So that's the danger of relationship in this world. Any kind of relationship, just like this scenario that we're talking about, the nature of this world is reflect back in your own life. I mean, when we were young, we were parents, our sneha was with parents. We grew up, we became social, our sneha was more to friends than with parents. Then you go to college life, if you get a girlfriend or boyfriend, then your sneha is more over there than to anyone else. And if you look back in the history now, to whoever you had sneha, very few people are remaining around. You suddenly go through the photographs and then realize how many of them actually have passed away, particularly because of COVID and all that. So it's a miserable thing, it's a miserable. So in any point of time, if we're increasing of a scope of relationship, we are creating an opportunity of misery, even on a platform of knowledge, because it's not so easy to overcome that family attached. So therefore, what Prabhupada tries to make a point for all this thing, there's only one relationship which is permanent. That is with the Lord. Everything else will fade away. See, Arjuna cried when everyone passed away. That will, after hearing Bhagavad Gita, not hearing, after understanding Bhagavad Gita, he understood Bhagavad Gita. But the nature of research, the nature of sneha research, he's still, being driven by anger for not finding Abhimanyu or getting rid of Abhimanyu. He took, wow, Literally took a vow to commit suicide. That was not knowledge from this thing. Even if we have knowledge, Arjuna had all the knowledge. And therefore Prabhupada said, this is but natural. So what Arjuna did is but natural. So for a devotee, if he loses somebody to whom he was sneha, it's going to be painful. It's going to be painful. So decide, do we really need to extend our relationships? Do we really need to have, keep on increasing our material relationships? If we are in a situation, what is given to us is fine. If we can live with that, good enough. Because it's not easy, to transpose that affection to who we have affection to the Lord and devotees. It takes time. To the devotees, to some extent possible. To the Lord, that takes a lot of time. Because we can't have that experience of rasa within directly. So it's a dangerous trajectory of sneha. Just a thought.
So Ruji, that means in this material world, we can say that there is no real sneha possible, right? I mean, with the, if we say that, and now just to extend that does it then kind of, there's a possibility that kind of understanding may make one person little hard-hearted also. So I just want to see, there is a kind of a thin line. You may think that, okay, yes, there is only Krishna to whom the real sneha can happen. But because of that kind of understanding, you may also start having some kind of, hard-heartedness towards even your close uh, family members. So
पता नहीं मैं हार्ड हार्टेडनेस आना वो अगेन वही है ना, नेचुरल है वो, बिकॉज आई डेफिनेटली वी आर नॉट दैट एडवांस्ड एंड वी आर नॉट लाइक दैट. तो हार्ड हार्टेडनेस आना तो मुझे नहीं लग रहा, बट हाँ, दैट दैट विल और शुड लीड टू सम काइंड ऑफ डिटैचमेंट अल्टीमेटली, ग्रेजुअली, राइट? बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली वी नो कि कृष्णा इज द ओनली वन ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ अफेक्शन, and whatever dealings or affection we have for others is because we are duty bound. This is something which Krishna has ordained for me, and he has given me this duty. This is my family, these are my children, I have to take care of them, and I have to take care of them in a way which is a Krishna conscious way. It's not my selfish interest in that, right? Then if we serve them like that, then I think इतना कोई हार्ड हार्टेडनेस तो नहीं होगा.
And go through with the emotions. No worries.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. See, Kaushal Prabhu's voice was clear, Varun Prabhu's voice is clear, but Madan Chandra Prabhu, your voice is not at all clear. I don't know why, but maybe the mic needs to be passed on, whatever reason.
Go through with the emotions. So don't worry about it. Only thing is, just do your duty. You're a father, your mother, your sister, whatever it is, do your duty and go through with all the emotions. It's part of being human. There's nothing unreal about it. Hare Krishna. And even if we say we understood and all that, we use that knowledge only for the sake of an excuse, because I don't want to do it. So therefore, and then we say, see, Gita says, we are part and parcel of the Lord. So you're also part and parcel of the Lord. हमारा तो कोई संबंध ही नहीं है. जाओ भगवान से शरण लो. No, I will not offer protection. So that just becomes an excuse like that. All right. Wonderful topic of Sneha. Hare Krishna.